am here. No one can hurt you. Don't wanna lie here, but you can learn to. If I could change the way that you see yourself, you wouldn't wonder why you're here. They don't deserve you. I tried to scream, but my head was underwater. They called me weak, like I'm not just somebody's daughter.
Growing up young and black in this country is a unique experience. Sometimes it's having a white best friend and knowing that as much as you love and appreciate that person, one of you might be taking a risk with this friendship. Sometimes it's just like any other human being would. You seek other people with a shared experience with as you to want to be able to congregate with, but as soon as you do, you're a threat. Sometimes growing up young and black is people being surprised at just how professional you are. Sometimes being young and black is participating in or delivering a program that changes lives, transforms a sector, makes an industry operate in a new way, and people say you achieved that just due to your passion, but not because of your ability to strategically think, activate, and deliver.
I think a lot of us come from first or second generation, either Caribbean or African descent, and I think when we are in our household, we are enriched and in love with who we are, and it's not until after we leave our houses when we realise how different we are and how terribly we could be treated from other communities. So when I was in primary school, I had my first boyfriend. He was Asian and white, and I remember coming back from holiday and coming back tanned, and him having so much negative things to say about my blackness and how dark I'd gotten. He literally used to call me shadow and shout abuse at me as I walked down the street or left him after we would hang out as his girlfriend. And it just gave me a complex for a very, very long time, like into like my 20s, about the colour of my skin and the guys I would date, and just whether or not I was pretty because of the colour of my skin and how dark it was. I think you have to be twice as hard, like twice as smart. You push yourself to be even better. But then you go to university and you are walking to your uni halls and a car goes past and these white kids shout at you and say, you fucking nigger, or and you bitch, as you're walking to get an education, to get a degree. And I feel like that's when I realised in this country, no matter whether or not you have a degree and you're educated, you could be CEO, you can make so much, like have so much money, be so successful, but you will still be called a nigger on the street by somebody.
Growing up black was a curse and a blessing. It was a curse of always being made fun of when the lights went off in the classroom because your skin is so dark. Well, it was also the blessing of always giving that black nod when you saw somebody on the street that was black, because you're black, I'm black, I see you, bro. It was a curse of being chased after school by a group of white boys that called themselves the nigger fighters. But it was also the blessing of carving out a diaspora identity through slang, music, clothing, and culture. It was a curse of being led to believe, because of education, that my history only started with slavery. But it was also the blessing of a feeling of pride when I learned about how pivotal African people have been in history, in philosophy, in early religion. It's the curse of only really seeing people that look like you in media when they're playing sports, when they're making music, or when they're selling drugs. But it's also the blessing of seeing the rise in pride in African culture through Afrobeats music, through clothing, and through our culture coming to the forefront. It's the curse of knowing that academically, politically, economically, the odds are stacked against you. But it's also the blessing of seeing the increase of access programs and government policy there to support black people that have been held back in so many ways. Growing up black, it's a lot. It's a lot.